so we're going to look at Bob's approach to playing Bertha, specifically the Veneta 72 version, because there's an isolated track. If you haven't heard that already, it's out there on YouTube or on, I think it's dead.net/playing the band, where you can check out everybody's individual parts for a handful of tunes. So cool. Makes it really easy to hear the details of what he did. So we're going to break down just the general approach of what he did in this. We're not going to do note for note type of thing. And this is not just for the Veneta show. This is kind of in general, and specifically 72. It's like he wouldn't be doing drastically different things. So this will give you a good framework for what's going on. Normally I'd say I would jump right into the first part, but I already played that for you, the intro. So let's look at the approach to the overall song though. We have G, C, D, and A minor. So as you might guess, the song is in the key of G, right? So this would be what they call the 1 chord, the 4 chord, the 5 chord. So it's mostly 1, 4, 5 with the 2 chord mixed in there, which is nice, colorful sound. And those are the only 4 chords minus one little climb up here. Doesn't really count so quick. We'll get to that later. But the intro that we just heard is just G, right? But he's playing it up here in this C shape from that cage system. Right there, boom, it's G in the C shape, but he's not barring down, he's playing like this. And I'll show you in a second an easier way to do this. That's the same exact thing, but the only reason I know he's doing this here is I can tell by the way the intonation is of the timbre of the notes, and I also saw in a video of him live playing up here, so he does this shape a lot, but he's playing it like this, and then he's throwing in this note a lot here, so this C right here, so he's doing that, right, and occasionally he'll throw in this note as well. So what's happening there, he's playing a G chord, and by playing this right here, this C note, that's the 4. That makes it a sus4, right? Just gives it some kind of color and some movement. That's the main approach to kind of the whole tune, is just throwing that sus note a lot. Excuse me. Then, if you wanted to do it even more so, he'll sometimes throw in this note here, the 2 as well. And that's basically playing a C. That's playing a C triad like this. So C, E, G, 1, 3, 5, right? But we're still just jamming over that G chord. So it really stresses that with that 4-to-1 movement. Big thing in the 70s, you'd hear this stuff just all the time. But the tricky thing is, playing this, it's not that easy, especially if you're not used to this shape and moving it around. And a way to practice this is to just move the finger back and forth, and especially if you're doing these two, it's really tricky. And just take this shape, right? Don't even bother playing. You put your pick down and just get this shape right here, right? You can even forget about this part right now, and just move the finger. Okay, this is going to go here. These fingers stay where they are. This one's going to go here, and just go back and forth. And then this one down here, so it's like this, goes to here, then it goes off. Or you could also move it to here if you want to. Let's just take it off, right? So you're going back and forth, and keep doing that until you can do it without looking at it, and you're just really comfortable, and then start actually playing it. And even if you just spend like 3 minutes doing that, breaking it down like that, very slowly, you'll end up being so much more comfortable with this than just trying to play it without breaking it down like that. So that's an approach that you can use with a lot of the stuff that we're going to look at. That'll make it a lot easier if it is a struggle for your left hand to kind of keep up with this stuff, because this is a quick tune too. So there's not a lot of time to be keeping up with the movements. You just got to be right there. So that's the gist of it. So that is playing over G, but there's a lot going on there, and he's playing some muted strums in there as well. And if you want to make it even easier, you can just play it over here. So this same shape is this right here, right? And here it's the same. But the beauty is, instead of having all 4 fingers down, you can bar these 2. So now you have your pinky free to... You can now get that note right here. And if you wanted to do this, you can now do it like that, and it's so much easier. So the same exact thing, and it's not like he would only do it here, this is the better way, it's just the way that Bob would often do it, but he would certainly play this stuff, maybe Bertha this way, but other tunes the same type of thing that way. So it doesn't really matter. So try out both ways, and yeah, just get them under your fingers and things like that. But let's give a listen to the verse. I'll just play along with the track, and then I'll show you what's going on. So this one now finally has some movement with the chords. We're going to a C chord, and he often would just play it like this. So this is out of the G shape with the cage system. And if you don't know what the cage system is, or you just don't have it down really well, I have a cage cheat sheet. I'll put a link in the description down below and a QR code right here. You can just snap a photo with your, or use the camera with your phone to snap a photo, and it'll just click on it, take a link right to this site where you're going to just download the cage cheat sheet, and it will help you with all these shapes and all these scales and things that go right around it, because Bob really thought about things, or should I say still thinks about things, through this lens of the cage shapes, these open chord shapes. So this one right here, for instance, is C in the G shape, but just playing the middle four. It just gives it a little bit more color and excitement than playing like a regular one like this, which is an A, but it's with the root in the bottom. This has the third in the bottom. So you're going from like this, right? And then he does this just kind of like little single note stuff, mostly just the pentatonic. So C major pentatonic, kind of like. Something like that the first time on that version he did it. But again, I don't want to just get into note for note stuff, just showing you the kind of ideas. That stuff, you know, then it's back to the G, you know, does it again. It kind of keeps going back between these two shapes, so C and G. And then I think the second time he's throwing in this note here, which you would think of it as outside of the key in F, but it sounds like a sus, or it is a sus for the C, so it kind of works, right? So they sort of highlight that spot. And then another time, I forget when he does it, but something where he does this. I like that one too, because he's playing in sixth, and then he's playing these notes of the chord of C. Then he goes up here, which is a fifth, but it's outlining these two notes in the chord. So then he goes like this into the G. So this little things like that. It's kind of like that clean Hendrixy stuff that Hendrix would do a lot of. But those are just a few ideas of what he would do between the chords. So the idea is getting to C, playing that little inversion there, that G-shaped C middle part, and then playing around these little, basically little lead parts, you know, and getting right into the G, still doing that sus thing a lot, and then just back and forth 4 times, and then into the chorus. So let me play through the chorus, and then I'll show you what's going on. So this one starts off by being on the G and sliding up. So now we're going like this D shape, but just, you can often play just these triads right here. Then you can go and just right up, you know, they call it chromatically, just climbing up. I'm sorry, C sharp into the D, right? And then going, often doing this one and then playing higher up. So also, again, these shapes, even if you're just playing like this, you can think of it like a cage shape. This would be an E cage shape. So going, but he's often not playing the whole chord, just like that, but like this. And then down to A minor. And the same kind of idea, like playing the first 3, you know, higher part, G, like doing that C shape, and then just doing these little pieces. These are kind of pieces of the cage shapes, or you could think of them as just triads too. Just tri, meaning 3 notes. Just these 3. So that's like playing like your bar chord like that, C, D, just like that. Back to C, G, D, C. A lot of times you do this. He'd slide in as you play all 4, so you don't have to always be doing just like parts of 3, you know, notes of 3. Sliding those forward. You know, playing those different combinations around in the G, and then it kicks back into another verse, and those are all the parts. So that's it. That's the overall approach to Bob's playing on Bertha, especially during that 72 period, and it's just about those shapes, throwing in those sus things in there. If it's a new to you, again, really taking it slow, working out the fingering, and also trying it out, you know, here if you want to just make it a little easier, and then throwing in single note stuff and just getting those ideas down, and of course just having fun with it. And if you want to play with the track, of course, I've got a Bertha track you can practice this stuff along with. So have fun with that. And if you want to check out another Bob breakdown, check out this video here where we look at Tennessee Jed and all the fun stuff he did on that.